This is a video about Prison Life's game design. Yes, that Prison Life.
Daddy, I'm coming! Ah!
A game that was developed in only a couple of weeks. The Prison Life that looks like this. You might be thinking that I've gone loony, but I can assure you I have not. There is a lot to discuss when it comes to this Roblox experience's very simplistic game design. There is a treasure trove of knowledge to be learned from it, and despite being over a decade old, it has more gripping gameplay than anything out on Roblox currently. Yes, this is one of the most charming and compelling games on Roblox. Let's take a look at Prison Life and uncover why its gameplay is so good. Now typically this is the part where I put a history/development segment, but there really isn't much history to be discussed. The game was announced on May 7th, 2014 and would release on May 30th, 2014, simply created as a passion project by Roblox developer Aesthetical. So let's just dive into what really matters for this video, that being the gameplay. There are 3 roles that you can take in Prison Life, that of the prisoner, guard, and criminal. As a prisoner, you have one very clear goal: escape. You have a few ways of going about this. The easiest way is by grabbing a hammer in the courtyard and then smashing a toilet to escape through the sewers. You could punch or stab a guard until they die and use a drop key card to escape through any exit that will now unlock for you, which could be using the vents in the kitchen or just walking out the front door. Third, you can start a prison riot and break into the guards area and arm yourselves to then escape. And lastly, you can get broken out by the criminal team in numerous ways. And speaking of the criminal team, as a criminal, you have a few roles to fulfill. Those are staging attacks on the prison, taking out guards, and freeing prisoners to build up your team. The prison is mainly accessed through this knocked over tree on the outer wall. From here, once you're on this outer wall, you have a ton of movement options. You can run around the outside of the wall shooting at cops or entering through the watchtowers. You can jump down and go through the front entrance, either going through the 2 sets of doors into the guard room or into the main prison area and the courtyard. And lastly, you can enter through the back entrance by the kitchen. The criminals are also complemented by a heavy arsenal. They are provided with a shotgun and AK-47 as their main equipment, and if you get a game pass you can get C4, the FAL, sniper, and revolver. Each one of these guns' playstyles varies vastly, allowing for players to fulfill whatever role they want. Being a long-range support with the sniper,
I think his mate saw me.
Hello, sir. I hope you are having wonderful days. I'm gonna shoot you now. Have a good game, friend.
an up-close and personal glass cannon with a shotgun, or anywhere in between with the rifles and revolver. Then the C4 offers tactical support, allowing for you to blow up doors to get in, free prisoners, or to set traps for the cops. Or if you escaped with the key card and you still have it in your inventory, you can act as an aid to your team, letting prisoners out and criminals in. But this gameplay loop would not work without the guards.
Ew, what the f is that? Oh, hell no, I'm done.
The guards act as the opposing force to criminals and prisoners. In the prison, they have to maintain order and prevent escapes. Then outside of the prison, they have to arrest criminals, sending them back to jail. In the guards' arsenal, they have a ton of tools to do this. A taser, which stuns prisoners and criminals. Then when stunned, you can either be arrested, sending you back to your jail cell, or to the prison if you're a criminal. Guards also have an extensive amount of weapons at their disposal. The defaults are the MP5 submachine gun, M9 pistol, and the Remington shotgun. Then with game passes, you unlock the sniper, revolver, M4A1, and riot shield. This vast expanse of weapons again allows for a wide variety of playstyles. The MP5 and shotgun are good for crowd control inside the prison, the sniper and M4A1 are built for defending the prison from outside attackers, and of course, combinations of weapons allow for playstyles all across the spectrum. Just like with how the criminals have the C4, the cops also have a special item being the riot shield, blocking most bullets from the front but leaving your head, back, and sides vulnerable. It is a defensive tool that can be used to protect yourself inside of the prison and from long and close range attacks outside of it. And that is it. No, seriously, that is the entire game summed up in a concise 638 words. You might be wondering, what's so special about that? Like I described some guns and very simple cops and robbers-esque roles, but that is it. And that is exactly my point. Prison Life thrives on its simplicity. Despite being so bare bones, it has a surprising level of depth, which cultivates an incredibly fun gameplay experience. To truly show you what I mean, let me take you to the past real quick. During my first winter break of college, my friend Badger and I decided to play Prison Life on a whim. That one choice then turned into us logging in on a daily basis and playing for hours on end. One of Badger's play sessions was 12 hours straight.
Yeah, no joke, Devin. I've been playing this game since like 8 AM.
So yeah, the gameplay is just a little captivating. Matter of fact, let me just show you the fun. So yes, prison life is a delightful experience. The game doesn't demand your attention, yet it completely captures it. But this isn't just because the gameplay loop is enjoyable, it's also because prison life lets you create your own fun. See, prison life isn't just an action game, it's also a roleplay game. Before we go any further, if you could please drop a like and subscribe to the channel, that would be greatly appreciated. I put a ton of time and effort into these videos so that I can regularly post high quality stuff for you guys. So if you've at all enjoyed anything you've seen so far, please consider supporting the channel. Now, I won't take up any more of your time, let's get back to the video. Now, when I say roleplay, your mind might jump to those freaky ass Roblox roleplays.
Oh my god, what is that? Oh my god! What is that?
Or like The Last Guest. But that's not what I mean when I say prison life is a roleplay game. I don't mean that people are playing characters and acting out scenes and scenarios. What I mean is that players are dropped into a setting and have meetings in which they fulfill the role that the game has put them into. Think about it, the cops are fulfilling the role of a guard. They're using their tasers and weapons to keep the prisoners in line. They are escorting the prisoners to the cafeteria for dinner, breakfast, or lunch. The game even has pop-ups which encourage these interactions. It says when and where the prisoners should be. And if you're not in the proper place at the proper time, the game allows for the guards to damage you. Or look at the criminal team. You spawn in a dingy warehouse hideout where you arm yourselves to prepare for an attack on the prison. Then you go to battle and probably get taken out by a strong guard player multiple times while fighting. You might begin to remember this player and harbor resentment towards them. So as you keep returning to the prison, you seek out this guard wanting especially to take them out. Then once you finally do take them out, you feel fulfilled. In this scenario, you are forming an emotional connection and getting invested in the game because you are fulfilling the role of a criminal. And you might not even notice this. You could be role-playing and not even realize that the game has pulled you into its world. This is another element of what makes prison life's simplicity so great, because there are no distractions that pull you out of the world, no unnecessary features or flashy side activities that would take you out of the role-playing experience, thus hurting your enjoyment. From start to finish, prison life is a fun, attention-grabbing game that is simplistic enough to draw you in, but has enough complexity to not leave you bored. And that is something special, because nowadays every single game is going to grab as much of your attention as possible, but not all of them succeed like how prison life does. To truly show off what I mean, let's contrast the game of prison life with its biggest competitor, Jailbreak would release to Roblox on April 21st, 2017 and would be a smash hit success. It would offer itself up as a true competitor to prison life after Aesthetical would step away from the game in 2017 due to college and other real-life commitments. Jailbreak would rise to over 60,000 players on its first day. It would become the first Roblox game in 2017 to hit 100,000 concurrent players, while at the same time, prison life was only pulling 10,000 to 25,000 players. Jailbreak offered a similar prison roleplay experience but with some key differences. They had a wider range of cars and new vehicle types including motorcycles and helicopters. Then once outside of the prison, there was a whole host of activities that you can engage in, these being the main draw of the game. The main thing you could do was robberies. There were a few different ones that you could do, like smaller petty theft at a gas station or at a donut shop, or bigger, more dangerous and profitable heists in a jewelry store or train. The different robberies then paid for new vehicles, weapons, and customizations for all your different transportation. But of course, as you engage in these criminal activities, the cops are hunting you down trying to bring you back to jail. These cops also have more tools like helicopters and new guns they use to arrest you. But also, just like prison life, the guards aren't just out searching for criminals, they are watching over the prison and making sure that no one escapes. This would form Jailbreak's gameplay loop. Escape the prison, get money, avoid the cops, get arrested, and do it all over again. Plus, the social element of roleplay in which you talk with other players and fulfill your role can keep you on the game for hours on end. It was an addictive loop, and let me tell you, as a former Jailbreak addict myself, it was a very potent addiction. Tight, yeah! For years, Jailbreak would reign supreme. Its core gameplay was simple but easy to pick up, and it offered much more to do than prison life, and the game would only grow as the devs would frequently release new updates. Later into 2017, after the game's initial release, a jewelry store robbery, supercars, SWAT teams, and apartments would all be added. 2018 would add more prison escape options, a museum heist, and the train heist I mentioned from earlier. 2019 would continue the growth with 3 new robberies, a new military base area, and huge map expansions. In March of 2020, they would add a new seasons mechanic, in which every new season brings in vehicles, locations, and cosmetics, all centered around the season's theme like retro or jungle. And this would continue till today, with the game receiving tons of new content updates. So the game should only be getting better and better, right? Well, not exactly. If we jump to the present, Prison Life has now overtaken Jailbreak and is once again the dominant prison roleplay game on the platform, dethroning Jailbreak after nearly a decade, and this is because Jailbreak has failed to maintain its simplicity. It is strayed away from what made it so successful. The core gameplay loop of escape, rob, evade still technically remains, but there's so much extra now it's just totally diminished. When I was playing Jailbreak for this video, I literally just walked out of the prison with zero opposition, because the cops are spread so thin across the giant ass map that it's as if they aren't even an opposing force. And now, there's so much stuff to do around the map that you have nowhere to start. There's no clear place for you to go or clear indication of what to do next. I'm not saying that the game should dumb itself down and have giant arrows and text boxes telling you what to do, but the game should be intuitive. Then we come to the cop team. There is literally no reason to play as a cop. All of the fun heists and locations are made for the criminal team. There is no incentive unless you really like going around and arresting criminals. And even then, you're running around a huge map where you can barely even catch the criminals. Not only that, the fun roleplay elements of being a cop are hampered since the criminals are all spread so thin across the map, making it so you barely have the chance to interact with them. Lastly, so many things are encouraging you to spend money on microtransactions, like, yes, you can play the game for a long time and buy whatever you want with in-game cash, or you could just save yourself the grind and drop some Robux to get what you want. Just look at the title screen. There are so many different buttons and icons trying to grab your attention and sell you. Look at the bottom of the screen, it's just advertising the game passes that you can buy. In the modern gaming sphere, every single game is like this. Loot boxes, battle passes, events, skins, collabs, new mechanics, DLC, seasons, live events, etc, etc, etc. Things just trying to snatch your attention with as much as possible. Jailbreak has become just another game that implements all of these concepts. The game has seasons like Fortnite, an overwhelming amount of point of interest on the map, and enough different vehicles to make you think it's a GTA car meetup.
Hey, what's up?
Yo, what's good? What the
Can I get a spot?
What the is this?
Nah, bro, get that out of here.
What's wrong with
So the game is just boring. There's no conflict and too much to do that the game somehow makes itself feel empty. But you know what game doesn't have these issues? Prison Life. Let's now look back at Prison Life juxtaposed to Jailbreak so you can see why simplicity is such a strength. As mentioned before, Prison Life's gameplay loop is so incredibly simple. Escape the prison, return to the prison to fight cops, die or get arrested, and do it all over. While this may seem like it would get stale after a while, it works because the entire game is built around this concept. So inside the loop, there is always something happening which keeps you entertained. Let's look at how this is accomplished. To begin, the game's map is incredibly small. Looking at it, there are really only 3 main points of interest and a few smaller one-note places. First, there's the warehouse where you respawn as a criminal. It's where your weapons, gear, and cars are located. This place serves one very clear purpose: to provide shelter to the escaped prisoners. It has all you need and that is it. There's no extra content shoved in at the criminal base, just the essentials. Then we move into town. This location acts as a place where the criminals and cops have run-ins outside of the prison. It has stores and alleyways you can duck into to avoid cops. It also provides a vantage point for snipers as the tall office buildings give you a clear line of sight of the prison. It also acts as a nice set piece to transit through on your way to the prison. Speaking of which, the prison is our main setting for the game, and its design was given all the attention necessary for it to live up to the game's namesake. It sits atop a hill, giving it an imposing and grand vibe. It also gives the guards an advantage as they naturally have high ground and cover from attacks. Once in the prison, there is incredible balance struck that keeps the teams fair. The design of the prison works in favor of the guards, with sneaky angles for their weapons, easily defensible entrances that even a slightly competent guard team can defend, and a lack of cover for the invading criminals. So it seems like the guards have an advantage that totally shuts out the criminals, right? Wrong. The criminals can totally dominate and invade the prison. They can take up position on the outer walls, not allowing guards to exit the prison under threat of being obliterated. The criminals can also make huge inroads inside of the prison, camping outside of their spawn room. But despite the fact that the criminals can take over the prison, they can never truly run it. With the guards' respawn and supply room being in the heart of the prison, it is on very rare occasion that the criminals can truly hold it forever. There are 3 exits to the guard spawn that the criminals need to hold down with no cover outside to hide behind. Meanwhile, the guards can just duck back into the room if the pressure is getting too hot outside. Plus, with all the cops being centralized in this room, a true bum rush with all the criminals going inside is very unlikely to work out. And even if all the criminals do get in, the cops will just keep respawning. There's no time for the criminals to recoup and heal. They would have to constantly stay reloaded and attacking, which is essentially impossible. And lastly, the doors to get to the guard room are protected, needing key cards to enter. So all these factors come together to allow for the guards to easily stage a comeback if the prison is overrun. Even when the criminals are super powerful, the guards can flip the balance, getting arrests and kills, retaking control of the prison. So the map is designed in such a way that the players are always encountering each other. This allows for moments of roleplay and combat, and the whole game is built upon these moments. So multiple core elements of the gameplay loop are in action at any given moment. You are always having fun. When I described the town to you, did I mention giant jewelry stores you can rob or the town being the center of a massive urban sprawl? No, it's just a straightforward small town. Even the store interiors are simple counters and shelves. The office building can't even be entered because that would add needless complication that detracts from the game and what it is trying to accomplish. And the developer agrees with me. See, in the beginning, when I mentioned that there wasn't much of a development history, I fibbed a bit. The game actually went through numerous versions and betas. The current iteration of the game is Prison Life version 2.0, a massive rework of the original with a new map and almost entirely new code. Through the beta and testing process for this game, there were loads of new additions planned, like a skateboard item for when you escaped, weapon crafting, a guitar item, a cash mechanic, and prison jobs. But Aesthetical would remove all these features because he found that they were unnecessary additions that overcomplicated the game. The side effect of this is that the game can focus all of its attention on what matters. Why would you work a prison job if your goal is to escape? You don't need cash for vehicle skins if you're only driving 20 seconds from the criminal base to the prison. You don't need a huge town to explore if you're just passing through it to get to the prison. This is what I mean by simplicity is the game's success. Prison Life has one goal and it accomplishes it. This is unlike Jailbreak, which is so expansive that there is no outlet to meaningfully engage with its gameplay loop. As I played Jailbreak again for this video, most of my time was spent just running around aimlessly, and when the game would alert me to an event or heist taking place, I was too far away and I couldn't reach it in time. The game was too expansive, I couldn't truly interact with it. But I'm not just going to dog on Jailbreak and say Prison Life is better than end the video. No, there is a productive conversation to be had here. See, I'm just using Jailbreak as a proxy for modern Roblox as a whole, because Roblox as a platform has gone through a major shift. What worked years ago and brought you the most success isn't what works now. Roblox's games have shifted into a new, worse direction. Roblox initially started as a very bare-bones game platform, a result of this being that back when the platform started in 2006, the games were very simple meeting places or bare-bones combat games. But as time has marched forward, Roblox as a site has matured. It now has an incredibly competent game engine backing it, in which you can produce games that are on par with what full-on game studios are putting out. Because of this, Roblox itself now has hundreds of studios releasing high-quality games, and thousands of indie developers releasing their first real projects. But Roblox game development is also now very accessible and very profitable, which is a bit of a double-edged sword. While easy tools for game development are available to the masses now, it means that games with minimal effort can be churned out en masse. Every single day, 700 new games titled Escape Tsunamis for brain rots, Climb Worm Tower for brain rots, Enter 6-7, and Anime Femboy Obby are being released. There's no thought being put into anything resembling game design. It's just boring slop being pumped out to churn a profit. But what games do have even the slightest bit of game design don't have nearly as much thought put into them as the Roblox passion projects of yesteryear. It's so easy to copy assets, then implement colorful pop-ups advertising game passes, loot boxes, daily login rewards, and so much extra stuff all slapped on top of a game design. This is exactly what Jailbreak did. They haven't iterated or evolved their game idea in years. They just added more stuff, but nothing meaningful that enhances the experience. And the whole platform is like this. It's bloated with games that are devoid of any meaningful design. And this is the decline of Roblox. Games with fresh and understandable mechanics are not the ones being rewarded. What's being rewarded are games that can grab your attention the best, not games that are actually the most fun to play. Look at one of the platform's top dogs, Steal a Brain Rot, a game that has I can't talk about Steal a Brain Rot in like a serious sense. Look at one of the platform's top dogs, Steal a Brain Rot, a game that has some of the most boring game design I have ever had the displeasure of engaging with. The entire loop is buy a colorful character, that character makes you money, use that new money to buy more characters. That is it. Please tell me what this gameplay has to do with Tralaleo Tralala or the damn country of Italy. The answer is nothing. It's just a colorful skin slapped over a template that has existed on the platform for years. Because this isn't a new concept for Roblox. Tycoon style games have been on the platform for years, but the difference between Tycoon games and their modern counterparts is that Tycoon games are built around their idea. You are working on building a factory which produces a product, so naturally the more things that you sell, you're able to buy more things which generate you more money, which will allow you to grow more, just like real life businesses that are able to expand expand and grow as they pull in more revenue. It's fun to see your base grow. It's nice to see your restaurant or lumber factory expand. The world and gameplay all tie together nicely. But the modern Brain Rot iterations have nothing like that. These characters just stand in a room and do nothing. The game isn't designed around its namesake. There's just a colorful Tung 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 Sahur skin slapped on top of a gameplay foundation that has nothing to do with the guy.
All I wanted was to see Tung 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 Sahur one more time. And now I'm not gonna be able to.
Which makes the game boring because its world and gameplay are two distinct ideas that don't work well. So when the Brain Rot tinted glasses are peeled back, you're playing a bona fide Excel spreadsheet in which you just watch numbers go up. Truly riveting stuff. This is a problem that games like Prison Life don't encounter because the game has an inspired design. It has thought put into what mechanics make sense, but looking at these modern games, they're just combining ideas that don't work, creating bad, messy experiences. If more games truly built themselves around their central premises that they claim to be based on, the platform as a whole would benefit. So why does Prison Life succeed? Why does it hold lessons that we can learn from? Because the game has an inspired yet simple design. The game is crafted in a way that you are always interacting with other players and using the tools that it provides, which creates fun. But this is a dying art of game design for the platform. Nowadays, games are grabbing your attention not through gameplay that excites, but rather through clickbaity ideas that serve no real purpose to the game besides getting people to play and spend money on an experience with piss poor game design. But there is a lesson to be learned from Prison Life that if applied to the rest of the platform would greatly benefit it. You need to keep your game simple to understand. This doesn't mean making the game dumbed down for babies or have it lacking in complexity. It means having a game that the player can grasp but still has enough depth to be fun and entertaining. Keeping the game grounded. Don't balloon in scale until you have lost sight of what made your game originally enjoyable. Stay focused on what works, only adding expansions if it would truly enhance the gameplay experience. And lastly, be passionate about your work. If you don't care about video games, or are only in the scene for the money, then don't develop. Dedicate your time to the craft you are truly passionate about, not just the one you see the most dollar signs in, which I know is easier said than done, but if Aesthetical didn't care about his game, or the community he was developing for, then the game would not be the hit it is today. It would be filled with all those aforementioned unnecessary features that hamper the gameplay experience. But Aesthetical does care about what he produces and his audience, so he took the time to reflect and decide what truly worked for the game, which is something that you just have to commend. So that is why Prison Life has a timeless game design. Also, don't make the 6'7" kid the mascot for your game. Like, what are we doing? Thank you for watching to the end of the video. I want to give credit where credit is due to my friend Badger, who edited the first two segments of this video, and to my friend Dr. X, who looks over all my scripts for me. Oh, and shout out to Van Diagram Vance for subscribing to the channel. Good night, goodbye, good morning, wherever you are. I will see you all next time. Goodbye.